Hey everyone, welcome to Empowered by Iron, hosted by Mary Morton and
Kristen Lander.
Thanks for checking in this week, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. We put out new episodes every Monday, and if you are new, thank you so much for checking in.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about how to know if something is a want or if it's truly a goal.
Right. So I think that so many things people say that they want. They're like, well, I want a nice house, or I want a nice car, or I want a good relationship. Like, you can want something in this world, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a goal. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about what makes something a goal and why, how can you make that goal a priority, or making your goal a priority. If it's not a priority, it's not a goal. Would you agree with that, Kristen?
Definitely agree with that. So, like Mary said, we all have things that we want to achieve. So you maybe want to start a business, or you maybe want to be a national or world level weightlifter or powerlifter. But are you taking the steps to make those things a priority in your life so that you can achieve that goal? Because if it's not a priority, you're not going to get there.
Right. So, like, you can sit on your couch every day and say, oh my God, I want to be just like Jennifer Thompson, I want to bench X, Y, and Z. But, like, you really need to take a step back and say, okay, well, what are my priorities in my life right now? If right now your priorities in life are your dog, your cat, your job, and your hobby of playing video games, well, you're never going to be Jennifer Thompson or be anywhere near her level. You have to reevaluate your life and mold it to fit your goals. Make it a priority for you to go in every day to the gym, start benching, start moving, start doing the things that you need to do to achieve a goal. Now, we can break down goals into, are they attainable, are they not attainable, have you set up steps, but I mean, even more basic than that, are these goals a priority?
Yep. So if you are
If you're what? So, like, let's say this doesn't even have to be just fitness related, right? Like,
yeah. So one of the things that I think is really huge is that people set goals. They say, I'm going to do this. One of the things Mary and I talked about was people like that want to start businesses. Have you thought about what goes into starting a business? Like, are you aware of how difficult it's going to be or how challenging it's going to be? And are you willing to make that your primary focus? Like, if something is your priority, it's probably in the top 2 or 3 things that you are doing in your life. So, if you can't make your goal a priority, then you can't do the thing, because if you are a business owner, you are the sole person. Even if you have employees, sometimes employees can't come into work and you have to do the work for them, even if that's not the thing that you actually do. Owning a business and starting a business is a really hard thing, and there's a reason why a lot of people start businesses and they don't go anywhere.
right.
They're not successful because they're not able to make it a priority.
They don't, and I mean, I think that's another thing. It's not that they're not able. That goes back to another want. They don't want to. It's hard, because you have to give up Saturday night. Sometimes you have to give up Saturday nights with the guys or the girls, or you have to give up, for you have to give up some of your afternoons to do business things that are not that glamorous. I mean, we've texted back and forth many times where you're like, God, fuck this paperwork, but you do it anyway because you have to. And that's because your business is, if not your number 1 priority, it's number 2. It's up there.
Right, you have to learn it. You have to earn a living. But also, people a lot of times, like, if you are not willing to put in the work to achieve your goal, it's not a goal. If you're going to give up when it's hard, it was never a goal to begin with.
It was never a goal. And that has to go with so many things. Like, people who talk about they don't have money. Like, okay, well, obviously you have different priorities than saving money at this point in your life. Do you go shopping every week? Do you go out to eat every week? How are your priorities set up? When I was little, so my parents were really frugal, and when I was little, my one of my aunts, she was talking to me about how hard it is to buy diapers and purchase diapers for her I think my cousin was like 1 or something at the time, so like prime diaper stage, right? She was talking about how expensive it is and how she doesn't know where she gets the money, and she was complaining to me about it, and I said, well, that means you don't have your priorities right. And
as a
kid, I was like, oh, I wasn't a kid. I was like maybe 14 or 15. I had some sass. And I got chewed out for that because I didn't know what it was like to be an adult or what it was like to have money coming in. But what she didn't know is I was already 15 or 14 and I had my own job. I was paying for my own things, and I understood priorities. Like, if you have a kid that needs diapers, that's your number one priority. You need to do everything you need to do to get that kid diapers. If your number one priority is to lose weight or to go up a weight class or to make it to the Olympics, like, every ounce of you, every action, every movement has to be towards that. And I know that sounds extreme, but I'm about to go on a rant here. So the other day when I was driving home from the gym, I had an epiphany about like all this stuff and how I'm doing really good with my training and I'm loving it, and I'm like, oh God, I really want to get X total by the end of the year. What do I need to do? And it just dawned on me, and I was like, Mary, you can't just be good in the gym. Like, you really have to dedicate everything to it. Are you stretching? And this goes back to our recovery episode. Are you stretching? Are you eating properly? Like, you need to stop victimizing yourself and saying that tracking is hard and being on top of my nutrients is hard, and stretching, I don't have time for that. Like, I have to do what I need to do, and I need to stop being a little bitch, basically, about everything.
Well, but also, when you make something that much of a priority in your life, you have to realize that there's going to be some imbalance in your life.
Yes.
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone talks all about like, oh, you have to have this balanced life. You do, but there's times when it's going to be purposely out of balance, right? Because there's this one thing that you're really trying to achieve, and all of your extra efforts outside of work and family or whatever are going to go towards that, whether it's training really hard or your nutrition or your stretching or your sleep. You have to prioritize your sleep. So basically, the bigger your goal, the more efforts you need pushed into that goal, and the more time and the more everything in your life has to be moving in that direction.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of people don't think about when they set really big goals. And then so they don't think about those things, and then once it gets going, they're like, oh, whoa, this isn't for me. Yeah. And that's okay if you do that and you realize, oh, this isn't for me.
That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Apple wasn't built on a 9-to-5 job. Like, sure, Steve Jobs achieved great things with the company and the technology, but that's not because he worked for 9 to 5 and then went home to his wife and kids and had a great, happy little home life. The man worked endlessly on that until it became something big. And that's something, and this may be a little past even just training, but you can't just project about the hours and the minutes and the days of how uncomfortable you might be. You need to think like, okay, in 6 months, will Mary or Kristen 6 months from now be upset at Mary now or Kristen now for not doing X, Y, or Z? And if the answer is yes, then you need to get your shit together and make what you want a priority a priority. I'm so sick and tired of people telling me what they want and not taking steps toward it. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it.
Yep.
But like, God, just do the work.
Well, you're talking about the difference between dreams and goals and priorities.
Goals, yeah.
I mean, we all have really big dreams, but what are you doing
to achieve them?
And if you're not willing to do anything to achieve them, then that's fine. They can just stay dreams. But
you can't complain about not getting somewhere if you're not willing to put in the time and the effort.
That's right. So do the work. Figure out what you want.
Right. I think if you sit down, and let's, I guess, make this a little workshop. Sit down and write down the top 5 things in your life. Like, if hell or high water happened, these 5 things will remain constant.
Yep.
And for me, it's my family. my work, my training. I consider my dog part of my family, so don't worry, guys. Dog's up there.
Of course.
She's family. And then after that, it's like my finances, and I don't really have a fifth one. I guess I have a top four, but like hell or high water, those four things I will religiously stick to, no matter what.
Right.
And if, for example, if I have to stop training because my family needs me, that's what I'm going to do. But you have to sit down and write down what's important to you. And if your goal is not on there, put it on there.
Right.
And then figure out how to make that happen.
Right. As a nutrition coach, people always come to me wanting to lose weight. And then, like, everything that they tell me that happened during the week was like, they're obviously losing weight was like not a priority.
It was one big excuse, right?
Yeah, and not to be hard on people, because I know that it's hard. It's hard to change your behaviors and it's hard to change your habits. But at some point, you have to sit down and say, well, this is my goal. And I made it a priority. I am making it a priority. So when everyone else goes out drinking at the beach or on the boat or whatever, I can still go, but maybe I can't have all the drinks I want to have. Maybe I can have one, or maybe I can't have any.
And bring a bubbly.
Bring something else. Prepare. And that is how you make something a priority.
Yeah.
You want to get to a really high level in training, you get your training done every day. You prioritize your recovery. You prioritize your sleep. You want to go on a vacation, you're going to save your money. You're not going to buy, new Lulu pants every week.
You have to prioritize, and you have to be able to project. You got to prioritize and project.
Yep.
So, I guess this is just a rant. You guys, it's okay to have dreams, and it's okay to have ambitions and wants. But if you aren't willing to put in the work, put in the time necessary for those things, then don't complain about not being able to do that, because that's horseshit. Everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, and some people achieve way more than some other people, and they have the same 24 hours. But just do it.
Yeah, just make sure that your goals are a priority.
Make your goals a priority.
And if they're not a priority, they aren't your goals, and don't call them that.
Right. All right. I think that's enough ranting for the week. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
If you like what you heard today, please help us connect with other female badasses. We would love if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Tell your friends about us. Visit our website, which is empoweredbyiron.com. You can find each of us on Instagram. Mary is at MaryMo_92, and Kristen is at Kristen with an I, Lander. Future topics will include nutrition, programming and training, mental health, and just general female badassery.
Yeah, so let us know what you want to hear. If you have any input, that'd be awesome. And guys, this is Empowered by Iron. We want it to be a resource and an outlet for women who are finding their confidence, their independence, and their strength through iron. So thank you for listening. Thank you for checking in. And until next time, I'm Mary.
I'm Kristen.
And this is Empowered by